Everyone in the business world, everyone who's about to start a business, has heard that age-old statistic that gets dragged out every time you tell someone your idea. Don't you know 9 out of 10 businesses fail? And yes, it is true. Most businesses do collapse very quickly within a few years. But at the same time, some businesses survive. Forget that, some even thrive and go on to conquer the marketplace. Think Microsoft, Facebook, Tesla. The thing with business is that an idea is worth fairly little, whilst it's the execution of the idea that takes you to the top of the market. I'm sure the entrepreneurs that started failing businesses would have loved to know early on if they would succeed or if they wouldn't. Don't you think that that same information would be helpful to you? Well, I'm going to give you a few signs that your business is likely headed in the right direction. If you don't hit these signs, it doesn't mean you're going to go bankrupt tomorrow, but you may want to check for weak spots or think about pivoting your position. I'll start with a great indicator for success, and that is you have customers. Duh. I mean, it sounds obvious, but that's because it is obvious. Having said that, you'd be surprised by how many businesses seem to bypass the fact that someone actually needs to want to pay for what you're offering. You know, they need to exchange money for your goods or services. Too many naive entrepreneurs fall into a few cognitive traps when it comes to customer acquisition. The first trap is, if we build it, they'll come. This is where you arrogantly believe people don't need to be convinced to buy your product. They'll just see it and immediately open their legs. Well, it doesn't work like that. Many a company has invested all of their money into product development, zero into marketing, and they're left with a cool shiny toy and no one willing to pay for it. Don't fall for that trap. Invest in marketing. The second one is that's a really cool idea trap. We've all done it. We're sitting with a friend, beer in our hands, when suddenly we have a great idea. How about a waterproof toaster that you can use in the bath? It's a cool idea, right? People will buy it, right? Right? Wrong. Just because something is cool, fancy, doesn't mean people actually buy it. Be very wary of products that are just plain fantastical. You also need to understand that even when you're doing customer research, positive feedback isn't the same thing as acquiring a customer. People may gas up your product, but when it's time to open the wallet, they are nowhere to be seen. We place a lot of things on our wish list and in our basket, but there are very few things that we would actually pay money for. To mitigate this risk, ask yourself, am I actually providing real, tangible value? Or is this just a gimmick? Is this just a feature? Am I getting revenue and positive cash flow? Most importantly, try to create a minimal viable product and see if people are willing to purchase that MVP. As I said, don't fall into the trap of thinking a cool gimmick or feature will entice customers. Go on Kickstarter or GoFundMe and look at the business ideas there. 90% of them are just things that don't have much value, but they look cool and they sound cool to talk about, but no one will actually pay money for them. You don't want to end up like Juicero, for example. Alright, let's move on to the second great sign. Repeat business and word of mouth marketing. The best customers are the ones that come back and bring a friend with them. Consumers love to complain, but they rarely give credit because they have an expectation of quality. If you're finding that a lot of your customers are recommending you, then that's a sign that your business is a cut above the norm, and therefore it's a great indicator that you will continue to grow. Every word of mouth recommendation brings potentially 5 new customers, lowering your customer acquisition costs and increasing your chances of hockey stick growth. Sign number 3, and this one is on you as a CEO. You need to learn from your mistakes. If you're learning from your mistakes, that's a great sign. I place it on you, but you still need to instill a culture throughout that you aren't afraid of failure, but you do not make the same mistakes twice. Your employees need to have that as a motto. We are allowed to make mistakes, but we don't make the same mistakes twice. So I just had to repeat that because I believe it's so important. You need to be humble in your losses, and as a group, analyze where you went wrong without assigning blame. Once you figure that out, put the issue, the solution, and the new prevention measures in writing. Put it all over the office so no one ever makes that mistake again. Make sure everyone knows. Invest in extra training if you have to. Just ensure you have an environment where mistakes are not lethal, but most important, they are learned from. And this is my last sign, and probably the most important. You have solid finances. You don't have spectacular hockey stick growth, but you have solid finances. Don't be fooled by unicorn companies or the story of Instagram. Most companies that are successful after 10 years are steady horses. They don't finish the race early and they don't drop out early either. They just keep on going year by year, consistent, predictable growth. Solid means dependable, predictable, steady. As I said, not all of us can be on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook that grew at unprecedented rates. What you want to look for is more realistic growth. I know that's not what you want to hear, but that's what will keep you in business for a long time. It's actually the companies that are chasing that unicorn billion-dollar status that burn through their cash too quickly. Instead, you want to make sure that you have good credit and good credit terms. You want to check that you consistently have positive cash flow. Remember, this isn't the same thing as net profit. We already have a video on that, so check that out, check the difference out on that, because a lot of people made that mistake. You also want to make sure that a high percentage of revenue is from repeat business. You want to make sure you have enough cash for a bad 6 to 12 months. A lot of businesses didn't have this safety measure and they got wiped out by COVID, or any bad recession can wipe you out if you don't have 12 months in reserves. Make sure, most importantly, that your projections, as I said, are steady, achievable, and don't require crazy, excessive risk taking. Slow and steady wins the race. You want to be here for a good 20 years instead of an incredible 3 and then death. So that's all for today. These are the signs of success, the signs that your business will succeed. I'm your Entrementor, and this is my CEO Academy. Remember, the treasures you seek lie in the cave you fear to enter.